Hey everyone, Katrina here, and today we're going to talk all about how to find the distance between skew lines. Be sure to subscribe for more videos and definitely watch to the end to see the full example. Okay, let's dive in. So we wanted to know what is a distance here between two different skew lines. So first of all, what is a skew line? So skew lines don't intersect, but they're also not parallel. So this is a unique type of case. So this only occurs if we have lines in greater than 2 dimensions. So we have to exist at least in R3, because if we exist in R2, our lines can either be parallel, or they can intersect at one point, or they can be coincident and have infinite intersections. But here, with lines in 3 space, they have 4 different options of intersections. So let's write out the options over here. So the first option we can have is parallel and distinct. So that means that, distinct. So that means that they never touch, but they're in the same direction. So parallel lines means kind of they point in that same direction, but they're distinct so that they never have a point of intersection. So that means there exists some scalar multiple that you can have, for example, like k a equals to b, where a and b are both vectors and they can be equated by multiplying a scalar to one of them. So the second type of intersection we can have between lines in 3 space is we can have one point of intersection. So that means that they intersect once, so they cross over. The third thing that we can have is infinite points of intersection, meaning they're coincident. So we have one line directly on top of another one. And then our last case is that we can have skew lines. So when lines are skew, that means they're, like I said, not parallel and they don't intersect. So today we're going to learn how to find the distance between two skew lines. So after you've gone through all these different points over here and you've determined that there is no points of intersection, yet they're not parallel, then we can proceed with this. So essentially, the distance between skew lines is going to be the shortest distance between two skew lines is the line that is perpendicular to both of them. So, because if you think about two lines, I want you to imagine that you're holding two pencils in front of you and they never touch, but they're kind of placed, they're not parallel, they're kind of placed in different directions. We can see that there's areas that are going to have greater distance and areas that will have smaller distance. So today we're going to focus on looking for that shortest or smallest distance. And again, that's when that will be a line that is perpendicular to both of them. But knowing our knowledge from like vectors and 3-dimensional figures here, what is that line that's perpendicular to both? Well, we're essentially looking for that normal. We're looking for the normal to both of the lines, and that is going to be the line that is perpendicular to both of them, because the normal is the vector that is perpendicular to your vector. So we're trying to find this common normal. So say that we know 2 points on our line. Say that we know one point, which we're going to call P1, and we know another point, and we're going to call that P2. So that means that we can find our vector P1, P2. So now in order to find the distance between these two lines, we simply just have to project our vector P1, P2 onto the normal. Okay? So I'm going to show you what that equation looks like. So we're going to call this distance D. So this is going to be the shortest distance between our skew lines. And that is equal to the magnitude in our absolute value lines of n, which is this common normal, dot P1, P2, our vector that we made between our 2 points, and then divided by our normal n. So this symbol over here represents the dot product. So be sure to check out my previous videos on dot product if you'd like to learn a little bit more about this. And here we can use our knowledge of algebra and understanding of vectors to rewrite this. So we can rewrite this as the absolute value of n dot p1, p2 divided by then the absolute value and then of that common normal. And that's it. We can follow this equation every time when we're looking to find the shortest distance between skew lines. So now let's go ahead and dive into an example where we can use this new equation. So the example says, so we want to determine the smallest or shortest distance between two skew vectors. So I'm going to write out the equation for our vectors here. So I'm going to call this R1. So R1 is going to be our first line, and we can write it out in this format, x, y, z, because again we're in 3 space, equals to 5, -4, -2, plus s, and then 1, 2, 3, and then our second skew line, R2, again is our x, y, z, equals to, in this case, we have 2, 0, 1, plus t, 2, -1, -1. So again, just to review some knowledge about vectors, this portion over here of both of our vectors, this is the direction component, so that tells us which direction it's going in. And then this component here is just a point that exists on our vector. Okay, so now what do we have to do? Well, the other thing that we're given in our question is our vector p1, p2, because that is important for us in this equation. So p1, p2 is 3, -4, -3. Okay, so this is our given. So whenever we have our problems, you want to just clearly identify what is given, and then you want to figure out what is unknown. So what is the unknown that we're looking for? Well, we're looking for the distance. Okay, so in order to find the distance, we need to use our equation. So let's set up the skeletal equation and see what more information we need to find. Okay, so the distance formula again equals to the absolute value of n dot p1, p2 divided by the magnitude of n. Okay, so what are we missing here? So we can see that we already have our p1, p2, which is a given over here. But what we're missing is our n. So we can write that in our unknowns over here. So we need to find n. And what is n? N is that common normal between both of our skew lines. And that's going to be the line that's perpendicular to both of our skew lines. So I'll show you a really neat trick how we can find our normal given our equations above. So like I said, we have 2 direction vectors here. And what happens, think about some of the operations we have in vectors. We have our dot product and we have our cross product. Well, what is the result of a cross product? It's a vector that is perpendicular to both of them. And isn't that exactly what we're trying to find? So in order to find n, we can do the direction vector, so we'll just call this s, direction vector s, cross direction vector t, and that is going to give us our normal n. So let's go ahead and write out that cross product. Okay, so let's see. We have our s vector, which equals to 1, 2, 3. So we're just going to name this our s vector, and then we have we'll name this our t vector, which is 2, -1, -1. Not to be confused that in the case over here and over here, s and t are just possible scalar multiples. That can work. Okay, but we're just going to use this for labeling purposes right now. Okay, so we'll set up our cross product. There's many different methods how we can do cross product. I usually just memorize the formula and go for it, but I know there's some fun visuals that people like using. But for the purpose of this, let's just write out s cross t, and we can have that as, you can use indices. So what I mean is we're going to call this 1, 2, 3, and this 1, 2, 3. So those are going to be the indices that I'm going to refer to in this problem. So the first placeholder is going to refer to s, and the second placeholder is going to refer to t. So we need 2 times 3 minus 3 times 2, Then we need 3 times 1 minus 1 times 3. And then 1 times 2 minus 2 times 1. And again, these are our placeholders that we're using. So what is my placeholder 2? That's going to be this guy here. So I will have 2 times, what's my placeholder 3 over here? -1. So 2 times -1 minus 3 over here, which actually is 3 in this case, multiplied by placeholder 2, this one, which is -1. Okay, so that's my first entry. For my second entry, 3, 1 is going to be 3 times 2 minus placeholder 1, 3, which is 1 times -1. And then lastly, 1, 2, I have 1 times -1 minus 2, 1, which is 2 and 2. So again, these ones here, these are my like indices that I'm referring to from my vectors up above. So if we go ahead and solve this, we have -2 plus 3. We have 6 minus -1, which is 6 plus 1. Then we have -1 minus 4. And as a result, we have 1, 7, and -5. So that is the result of our cross product, and this equals to our normal vector right over there. So now we have all the information that we need. So we're going to go ahead and plug everything into our equation over here for distance. So let's do that now. So we have that our distance equals to the absolute value or magnitude of n, which is 1, 7, -5, dot P1, P2. And in our P1, P2 is 3, -4, and 3. So that was given to us right over here. And then we're going to divide this all by the magnitude of n, which is 1, 7, and -5. Okay, so we just have to now calculate this dot product. So let's just kind of take our dot product and do that over here. So our dot product, we just multiply each term together and then we add them up. So we're going to multiply the first kind of term by each other. So we've got 1 times 3, and then we're going to add then the multiplication of the second ones. So we've got 7 times -4, and then plus the last placeholder. So -5 times -3, -5 times -3, and this gives us 3 plus 7 times -4 is going to be -28, and then plus 15. And this is equal to 10. So we have that our numerator here is equal to 10. Okay, and then let's just fill this in. So D equals the absolute value of 10 over then the absolute value of our vector 1, 7, -5. Okay, so absolute value of 10 just equals to 10, right? But what is then the absolute value or the magnitude of a vector? So this is where we're going to have to go through and use another vector calculation. So we're learning so much about vector calculations today. So the magnitude here is going to equal to the square root of 1 squared plus 7 squared plus -5 squared. And that is equal to root of 75. So finally, when we put this all together, we have D equals to 10 over root 75. And let's see if we can simplify this. So 75 can simplify into 5 root 3 because we break it down to the root of 25 times the root of 3, which equals to 10 over 5 root 3. And let's see if we can break up 10. So what does 10 equal? Well, the other thing we can do is rationalize this. So we can multiply root 3 by the top and bottom. But before we do that, we can simplify this. So we have 2 over root 3. And then if we choose to rationalize this, we can multiply root 3 by the top and the bottom. And as a result, we will get 2 root 3 over 3, which is approximately 1.15. So these kind of last few steps over here were just additional simplification steps. Some people prefer not to have radicals on the denominator, so you can rationalize it by multiplying the denominator by the numerator and the denominator. And that gives us to 2 root 3 over 3, which is approximately 1.15. And that is the shortest distance between two skew lines. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. If you did, please subscribe for more videos, give it a like, and comment any questions that you have. I will have more vector videos coming your way, so be sure to stay tuned. I'll see you next time.